In a small village nestled by the winding curves of a great river, lived a young girl named Amara. Her life was far from a fairy tale. After her mother passed away when she was just a baby, her father remarried a woman with a heart as cold as the winter stone. Amara's stepmother and two stepsisters treated her not as family, but as a servant. Her days were filled with endless chores from sunrise to sunset, and her nights were often spent in a cold, dusty attic. Her only companions, the moon and the stars she could see through a tiny crack in the roof. Her only escape, her only friend, was the river. Every chance she got, she would sneak away to its banks. The river was her sanctuary. She would sit for hours, watching the water flow, listening to its gentle murmur. She'd confide her sorrows in the currents, her tears mixing with the vast, flowing water. The river never judged, it just listened. It felt like a warm embrace, a comforting presence that reminded her she wasn't entirely alone. She'd dip her tired feet into the cool water, and a strange sense of peace would wash over her, soothing her aching heart and weary body. To others, it was just a river. To Amara, it was home. One scorching afternoon, after a particularly cruel scolding from her stepmother, Amara fled to the river, her heart heavy with despair. She collapsed onto the grassy bank, tears streaming down her face. She whispered to the water, "Oh, mother, if only you were here. I feel so lost." As her tears hit the water's surface, something magical happened. The river began to shimmer with an otherworldly light, a soft ethereal glow that pulsed with a gentle rhythm. The water swelled and gathered, rising to form a luminous, translucent figure of a woman. Her face was kind, her eyes filled with a love that spanned eternity. Amara stared in stunned silence, her fear melting away into pure wonder. The spirit spoke, her voice like the gentle lapping of waves against the shore, a sound both ancient and familiar. "My dearest Amara," she said, "I have always been here. I am the river, and the river is me. I am your mother." A wave of warmth and love, more powerful than anything Amara had ever known, enveloped her. Her mother's spirit explained that when she passed, her love for her daughter was so strong that her essence merged with the river, the very place she had loved so dearly, so she could always watch over and protect her child. "I have watched you grow," the spirit continued, her form shimmering. "I have felt your every tear, heard your every whisper. Your heart is pure and strong, my child. Now, it is time for you to have the power to shape your own destiny." The spirit of the river reached out a hand made of flowing light and touched Amara's forehead. A surge of energy, cool and powerful like the deepest currents, flowed into her. It wasn't a violent jolt, but a gentle awakening of something that was dormant within her. She felt connected to every drop of water, every stone on the riverbed, every fish that swam in its depths. When Amara returned to the village, she was different. The timid, downtrodden girl was gone. In her place stood a young woman with a quiet confidence and eyes that sparkled with the river's magic. The first test of her newfound powers came quickly. A terrible drought had gripped the surrounding lands. The fields were cracked and barren, and the villagers' wells were running dry. Desperation hung in the air like dust. While others prayed for rain, Amara knew what she had to do. That night, under the cloak of darkness, she went to the parched fields. Closing her eyes, she reached out with her mind, calling to the water that lay deep within the earth. She focused, feeling the connection her mother had gifted her. Slowly, miraculously, a small spring bubbled up from the dry ground. Then another, and another. She guided the water, weaving tiny streams through the thirsty fields, nurturing the wilting crops. By morning, the fields were crisscrossed with life-giving water, and a small, steady spring flowed where there had been only dust. The villagers awoke to a miracle. They didn't know how it happened, but their gratitude was immense. Amara watched from a distance, her heart swelling with a new kind of joy, the joy of helping others. Her stepfamily, however, only grew more resentful of the strange new light that shone from Amara. One day, in a fit of jealous rage, her stepmother locked her in the cellar, vowing to keep her there until her spirit was broken once more. The cellar was dark, damp, and airless. But Amara was no longer afraid of the dark. She sat calmly on the cold floor and closed her eyes, reaching out to the nearest source of water, a trickle of moisture seeping through the stone walls. She commanded the water, and it obeyed. A fine, powerful jet of water shot out from the wall, striking the old iron lock on the door. It rusted and broke apart in seconds. Amara pushed the door open and walked out, unharmed and unafraid, leaving her stepmother speechless with shock and fear. News of Amara's abilities began to spread, not as witchcraft, but as a blessing. The villagers called her the daughter of the river. She became their protector and provider. When a child fell into the river's fast currents during a storm, Amara dove in without hesitation. The water, instead of fighting her, seemed to guide her, carrying her directly to the child and helping them both safely to shore. When a fire broke out in the village granary, she summoned a powerful torrent of water from the village, extinguishing the flames before they could consume the entire harvest. She never sought fame or fortune. Her reward was the safety and happiness of her community. Her stepfamily, seeing the love and respect the villagers had for Amara, could no longer stand to live in her shadow. Their cruelty had isolated them, and their jealousy had consumed them. One night, they packed their belongings and left the village, disappearing into the darkness, never to be seen again. Amara didn't rejoice in their departure, but she felt a sense of peace, a final closing of a painful chapter in her life. Amara continued to live by the river, her bond with her mother's spirit growing stronger each day. She taught the village children to respect the river, to understand its power and its life-giving grace. She showed them how to swim safely and how to read the currents. The story of the daughter of the river became a cherished local legend, passed down from one generation to the next. It was a story of a girl who found her strength not in a castle or a crown, but in the flowing, constant, and loving embrace of a river. And every time the water shimmered in the sunlight, the villagers would smile, knowing that Amara and her mother were watching over them, a timeless guardian and a symbol of hope. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more tales like this one. See you next time.